strikes by the Saudi-led military coalition fighting in Yemen targeted an area north of the capital Sana'a on Thursday, Al Masirah TV, a television station run by Yemen's Iranian-aligned Houthi group said. The two strikes come a day after the coalition vowed to respond firmly to a Houthi missile attack on a civilian airport in southern Saudi Arabia on Wednesday that wounded 26 people. There was no immediate confirmation from the coalition about the strikes. 26 people were injured following the attack by Yemeni rebels at an airport in Saudi Arabia yesterday, prompting fresh tensions between Riyadh and its fierce regional rival Iran. A missile fired by Houthi rebels hit the airport's arrivals hall in the mountain resort city of Abha, according to Saudi officials, injuring passengers of different nationalities. Share this article. The Saudi-led coalition which is fighting the Houthis in Yemen immediately pointed the blame at Iran, saying Tehran had equipped the rebel group with advanced weapons. A rebel TV network acknowledged the attack and said Houthi forces had fired a cruise missile. 8 of those wounded at Abha airport were admitted to hospital, coalition spokesman Turki al-Malki said in a statement. He said at least one Indian was among 3 women wounded along with 2 Saudi children. The other 18 were discharged after receiving first aid. Flights from the airport, which is around 100 miles from the Yemeni border, were disrupted for several hours before returning to normal. The attack is the latest flashpoint in long-running tensions between Saudi Arabia and Iran. The rivalry is closely watched around the world because the U.S. is a close Saudi ally and any war with Iran could escalate into a wider conflict. A Saudi coalition statement called today's missile strike a terrorist attack, accusing Iran of arming the rebels. The Saudis said the attack proves this terrorist militia's acquisition of new special weapons and the continuation of the Iranian regime's support and practice of cross-border terrorism. The latest violence could amount to a war crime of targeting civilians and civilian objects in a systematic manner, the Saudis suggested. The coalition has vowed to take stern action to deter the rebels and protect civilians. Saudi Arabia's ally Bahrain also condemned the attack, saying it was a cowardly criminal act against innocent civilians. The rebels acknowledged earlier that they had launched a missile at the airport in the Saudi city. One Houthi spokesman, Mohammed Abdul Salam, said the attack was in response to Saudi Arabia's continued aggression and blockade on Yemen. The latest Middle East flashpoint comes just weeks after the Houthi forces claimed responsibility for sabotaging Saudi oil tankers in the Gulf of Yemen. Saudi and UAE officials were tight-lipped about the extent of the damage, but pictures showed at least one tanker with a hole in its hull. The mysterious sabotage sent tensions spiraling in the Middle East as the U.S. blamed Iran and its allies for the attack, which divers said appeared to be the work of magnetic explosives. The Houthis said the sabotage was meant to send a message to the kingdom to stop your aggression on Yemen. The rebels, who have faced persistent coalition bombing since March 2015, have stepped up missile and drone attacks across the border in recent weeks. The incident sparked fears of a Gulf War breaking out by accident with the U.S. and Iranian militaries on high alert amid high tensions between Washington and Tehran. Iranian leader Hassan Rouhani has threatened to abandon the 2015 nuclear deal with the West, which is faltering already after Donald Trump pulled out of it last year. The U.S. deployed B-52 bombers and an assault ship to bolster an aircraft carrier in the region. Tensions heightened further after two pumping stations on a major Saudi oil pipeline were attacked by explosive-laden drones, halting the flow of crude along it. Today, Japanese leader Shinzo Abe will travel to Iran in an effort to ease tensions between the White House and Tehran. Yemen's civil war has been raging since March 2015, with the Saudi-led coalition fighting Iran-aligned Houthi rebels in the Middle East state. According to the United Nations, 22 of the country's 29 million people are in need of aid. An airstrike by the Saudi-led coalition that killed dozens of people in Yemen last August was branded an apparent war crime by Human Rights Watch. Yemen has also witnessed 2 outbreaks of cholera and acute watery diarrhea since 2016. Earlier this year, President Donald Trump vetoed a bill passed by Congress to end U.S. military assistance for the Saudis in Yemen. Trump has been under pressure over relations with Saudi Arabia since the kingdom was blamed for murdering dissident journalist Jamal Khashoggi last year. The columnist went missing on October 2nd last year in the Saudi consulate in Istanbul, where Turkey believes he was killed and then dismembered with a bone saw. Khashoggi, who had lived for a time in the U.S., wrote for The Washington Post and had been critical of the Saudi regime. Riyadh initially denied any knowledge of his disappearance before saying Khashoggi was killed after negotiations to convince him to return to Saudi Arabia failed. Saudi Arabia's crown prince and de facto leader Mohammed bin Salman came under global suspicion over his possible role in the killing. The kingdom later said the death penalty was being sought against 5 suspects in an effort to distance the